Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Brian Dable now the OC at the Titans. That was 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Really?
I guess like a whole blueprint of how they're going to revamp that whole thing and be more sports science-y and more modern with that. So
Okay, good for them. In other NFL news,
you brought it up.
take that back. I'm thinking about Garrett Miles or whatever.
Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett is better than
All of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought you were saying that.
No.
He got it.
Thanks, Evan.
The Max
Evans
Crosby.
really speaks Fred today.
Fred.
Yeah.
In a very condescending way.
Yeah.
That's all right.
No, that wasn't condescending.
No, I'm having waterproofing work done in the basement. They are not on the same page at this company, and I don't want to mention the company. If they don't do what they said they're going to do, then I will be on this show saying the name of the company. So if you're listening, beware.
Never actually heard me brag about having money. You guys have heard me mention things, and I said, yeah, I can afford to do that. I advise you guys, I literally do live in a $50 million mansion.
Glad you never brag about it.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
Welcome in, everybody. Skeleton crew here today. Only the hardy were able to make it in. We are getting buried with an enormous snowstorm. The blizzard of 26, if you will. Although, you youngins, this is not the blizzard of 78.
I mean, I know all
don't
about
let
it,
anybody
though.
tell you it's the same, because it ain't. Anyway, Chris Cassidy is here.
How we doing?
The lovely Alex Francisco is here. And, of course, myself, Paul Perillo.
You're pretty
starring for Fred Kirsch today. This is big. You guys know how much I hate hosting. So because I hate hosting so much, I've decided, based on a great recommendation from Alex, to split the duties. Alex is going to read the emails and take the phone calls. And, I'll try to keep the train on the tracks a little bit. I'll butcher some reads later on just to make you feel like Fred's still here.
Yep.
And we'll have some fun. The NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis, so hopefully we will have a chance to talk to Evan, who has been able to make it out to Indy along with a large chunk of our content crew. Mike Dussault, however, did not make it out. I believe he is leaving later on this evening to head out there. But we did hear from Eliot Wolf this morning in Indianapolis, so we'll get to some of the thoughts that he had to say. Some tidbits NFL-wise that may or may not be connected to the Patriots. We'll get into some of those too. A.J. Brown, I'm thinking about. Max Crosby, I'm thinking about. So there, some of the representatives for those teams also spoke. But this is when it sort of gets started, Chris. You get the Combine kicks off more with the NFL coaches and GMs talking. I find that the much more interesting part of the Combine than the prospects.
For sure. I agree.
I think the teams do also, because I think
them jumping around their little outfits
the underwear Olympics are not for me. But
really,
Eliot Wolf did kick things off today. Nothing I didn't think too earth-shattering. Talking about continuing to build on what they have. But anything stand out to you?
I think I'll jump in first. I guess I think one of the main takeaways for me, thinking about a guy like Jalen Hawkins, Eliot Wolf spoke about him during his press conference, and Jalen Hawkins is one of those guys. They re-signed him last year to a 1-year contract deal, sort of a prove it type of deal, and I think Jalen Hawkins proved it this year. I mean, he really bolstered that secondary, in my opinion. He added a lot of depth back there, especially after losing Peppers during training camp. I mean, you needed that kind of safety coverage, and I think Jalen Hawkins did a great job this year. And Eliot made a statement, obviously saying Jalen earned the right to go and look at free agency and see what's available. But just a guy who, loved to see him back. Yeah, love to see him back.
Yeah.
So
and talked about just ongoing discussions with the free agents, and then that was the one that
Hawkins was the one that he did mention
that got singled out.
Yeah.
right.
Alex, similar thoughts for you?
Yeah, the Hawkins thing stood out to me. I like it because I know Hawkins would love to return, and I like him and Craig Woodson, two Cal guys with a lot of chemistry and history together out there, and we saw it this year, and imagine another year in the NFL what they could build on. Another thing that stood out to me was Jared Wilson mentioning that they don't necessarily know where his position's going to be long term, and they're still having those discussions. So that was pretty interesting. I know Evans made the point quite a bit that I really like about maybe Jared Wilson is a center one day, but it's an interesting situation because I don't think Garrett Bradbury did a single thing to lose his job. So
He didn't.
it'd be interesting. I don't know, like maybe it's a position battle this summer. Maybe Wilson goes from being a starter and then next year kind of playing behind Garrett Bradbury to learn the position a little better from a great vet, and then you get another guy to line up, bigger body next to Will Campbell. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out heading into the summer.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind is, and they've already started. There was a transaction yesterday. The Patriots decided to release Antonio Gibson, which, coming off the torn ACL, not terribly surprising. But this is, some of these moves are made with the salary cap and with the dollar sign in mind. Not that Gibson was a high ticket, high priced item. He's not. The savings is modest, but I bring this up only because these are some of the minor moves sometimes that happen. So Garrett Bradbury, you might look at it and say, well, if they're thinking about moving Jared Wilson over, he's probably, if they're going to move him, he's probably going to start at center. And that's probably going to mean the end of Garrett Bradbury in New England. Now, I'm not saying that's for sure, because you can have, you need backups too. You need depth too. But I think that at this stage of his career, he probably considers himself a starter. And I think that the Patriots would look at it the same way. But those are the kinds of things where, it's not always, Stephon Diggs is on the books for $26 million.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a big ticket item. Obviously, you want to address that. But not all of the bookkeeping moves are, of that caliber.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Jared Wilson's definitely a question mark because, you guys already kind of touched upon it, but I do feel that Garrett Bradbury, again, you both have said it, but he played a really solid year and he commanded the offensive line. I think that's what he was brought in to do and be a leader and kind of, show the ropes to those guys like Will Campbell and Jared Wilson on that left side. Like, it was a really solid year. So.
Yeah, as well as he played, I think those leadership intangibles are the biggest draw for Garrett. I mean, you talk to any O-lineman this year, and they talked about his leadership, how he was corralling the group for those team dinners that they had every week, and then just how smart he was as a player, and almost like a player coach type guy to get a lot of those young guys up to speed.
Right.
So we'll get Evan's thoughts. Hopefully, he'll have a few minutes later on in the show to offer us some insight, because I know that Eliot also spoke with the local media after the podium. So sometimes you get some nuggets from that aren't necessarily uncovered the first time around. I should mention Patriots Unfiltered, as always, brought to you by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots, Toyota. Let's go places. And the other part of the Eliot Wolf thing that I found interesting, and I'm going to guess that neither one of you find it as interesting as I do, because I tend to see things that aren't really there sometimes.
You're in the weeds.
So we started off with the actual free agents.
Right.
And Jalen Hawkins was the one. Chris, you're absolutely right. That was the one he singled out.
And then you mentioned Tonga, too.
So I also thought it was interesting that when you started to get asked about players and contracts, specifically Stephon Diggs,
Right.
it became, well, we're not going to talk about all the different contracts. And I kind of thought that was interesting, because to me that tells me, well, there's a conversation going on with Diggs.
Right.
Not that it's terribly surprising, but you sort of look at it. Will the Patriots move on from Diggs? Is he going to be back? Is they going to try to change the contract? What exactly is the future hold for Stephon Diggs? The fact that he was willing to, I think I think it would have been very plausible to have a general manager answer that question. Well, yeah, he's under contract.
Yeah. Totally.
Because he is.
Right.
The fact that he sort of lumped him in with these are ongoing conversations we're having. We're not going to get into individuals. To me, tells me, well, he's an individual. He's
Yeah.
part of that group. Again, that might be just me finding that interesting. I don't know how
No,
you guys
it was
read
interesting. To me, it was just like, that's the PR answer, I think, with everything Diggs has going on off the field right now. And there's probably a lot of stuff they got to wait and see how it plays out. But yeah.
Yeah, I have the same thoughts as Alex. I think it's just kind of, trying to figure everything out. I mean, obviously Diggs was a vocal leader for this football team. I think his play, like, you haven't seen in a while here in New England an electric factory that Diggs was able to show when he was hot, especially in the big games. So, there's a lot of things that kind of go into a player's, status. So,
Yeah, and again, I'm not suggesting that this is, this means, oh, well, he's not going to be back or he is going to be back or anything. I just thought it was interesting that he acknowledged that, there's probably a decision to be made with Diggs, and I think it would have been very easy to say, well, why wouldn't he be back? I mean, he's under contract.
right.
1,000-yard season.
2 more years.
Yeah.
He had a good year. So anyway, that's just one thing that kind of, made my ears perk up a little bit. Let's put it that way. He talked a
Situation
lot
to monitor,
about,
for sure.
the depth. I think that most of what Eliot Wolf talked about today is, very logical. Like, I think they felt like they built a good foundation.
Definitely.
And they want to build on that. It's not, necessarily continuing to rebuild as much as it is to sort of figure out. He said it. Some places we feel like we have starters in place and we need some more depth behind them. Other places we probably need, we feel like we need to look for a starter.
Yeah.
So
Holistic approach.
good.
That's his words, not mine.
I was going to say
Elliot's words, not mine.
I think he used that word. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting, and again, we'll see what Evan has to say. League-wide, John Spytek, general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, certainly has every intention that Max Crosby is going to be on the Raiders. Now, there's very much a possibility that this is just sort of, trying to play the game the right way. And, well, no, he's not available. Oh, if you want him, I'm not just going to give him away. You're trying to up the price and whatnot. But I got the impression that Spytek does not want to deal.
Would you?
No.
I think Max Crosby is a focal point for them, for the Raiders. I feel like there's a lot of value if they were to trade him, but I do not think, for their standpoint of their team, especially needing a guy as they continue to build their roster, needing that veteran to kind of hold tight in that position. I think they need Max Crosby, especially as a leader.
And he said, we're in the business of collecting as many good players, and he's a great player.
Yeah,
we
he's
need
called
more
him
of
elite.
them.
Yeah.
We need more of those players.
Yeah, they're trying to grow.
Interesting also how he mentioned how close they have a great relationship. They text frequently. But then he also did throw in, like, hey, we're always listening, though. Like, we're always going to listen. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I
love
think,
him to be a Patriot.
I think there might be more to it than just the Raiders want to keep him. If Crosby really, sort of digs in and says, I want out,
Yeah.
they're probably going to have to trade him because you don't want to lose an asset like that. So that was one side of it. The other side was the Eagles, and Nick Sirianni spoke, and he couldn't guarantee that A.J. Brown would be there. So I took, those two things to me were sort of diametrically opposite. If you're reading just what was said today, I would certainly think the chances of Brown not being on the Eagles are greater than the chances of Crosby not being on the Raiders.
For sure.
Teams are in two very different predicaments,
I
too.
agree there,
so,
too, yeah.
not totally unsurprising. The Raiders are kind of bottom of the barrel. They're down bad. They need a guy like to lose a guy like that would. I don't know how the fan base would react.
Yeah,
I would
and
be
there's
pissed.
there's certainly every possibility that neither is with their team. Next year.
Of course.
For sure.
I think the most possible is A.J. Brown. But that being said, I mean, we talked about it last week. We've had this conversation about A.J. Brown for 3 years.
This is going to be 3 straight years.
So it's like, when does it actually happen? It's like we're just kind of waiting. Oh, here we go again.
Right.
Like, oh.
All right. So
Hooper, get off the pot.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys are, if you're anywhere local, you're done digging yourself out. It was quite a day yesterday for most of us. Not
Tough
Alex,
one.
though. Alex got a little dusty.
Yeah.
The Connecticut
6 or
River
7.
Valley made out really well. I do think it's funny how you and I have two of the longest commutes, and we're here.
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness, I didn't get anywhere near the amount of snow they got down here.
Cape Cod took the brunt for you.
Yeah, and hats off to inside the glass Matt Morrell, because I know
Everyone
what they
in
got
Rhode Island. Oh my goodness.
in Rhode Island. I mean, what did you end up with? What, 38 inches when it was all said and done?
Yeah, it was 3 feet.
Yeah, no one can hear you. That's okay.
33, 3 feet.
33.
Yeah, 3 feet of snow is no joke.
No.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
probably got a little over a foot, so I have
I
nothing
would
to complain
say-
about, other than the fact that my heat went out.
Worcester area got slammed pretty good. I'm in Hopkinton, so, I mean, my car...
Did you just run the marathon here?
I did, actually, yeah, 26.2. I said I got to be here for PU. So the house that I live in, we have a plow service, and they'll clear off our driveway for us. Obviously, we have to dig out our cars and all that. But the plow service ended up putting all the snow
On top of
my
your car?
So
No, they didn't. See,
I
I
had
was
to-
just joking. They
no,
seriously did that?
no, it was my car was basically I was the furthest up to the fence, and my car I had to dig my entire car out of the
That
snow.
reminds me of this morning driving in on 495. There was a tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Did you see it
Yeah,
too?
it got
A
495 is down
tractor
to 2
trailer.
lanes.
I don't know if it got stuck in the
I
snow
don't
or
know.
what happened, but someone had to abandon this tractor trailer on the side of the highway on 495, and then the plows just had to bury
Yeah.
it in. So I'm like, it's an abandoned truck, just totally.
It was
There must have
That's
been
what
four.
happens when you drive the hillbilly highway.
Must have been. It really is though. There must have been
it's
like 4 feet of snow just
It was nuts.
barricading this truck in, and like, how do you dig that out?
I was driving by. I was like, I hope no one's in there.
Not to mention, every truck you drive by is Alabama plate, Tennessee
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah.
The linemen all going to Cape Cod. So, like, just so many people to
It
plow.
is.
Like, my dad's plowed my whole life and pulls the all-nighters for these big storms. Just, like, so much respect for the
Yeah, oh my
people that
gosh, yeah.
go out in
Yeah,
these
there were,
conditions.
Constant rotation.
3 or
Yep.
4 different on my way on 128. There were just state troopers to the side with cars, and I couldn't tell if they were just abandoning cars
Yeah.
and they were towing them away or what they were doing. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I said, we got kind of lucky up north. This was one of the. I mean, there was, a good snowstorm, but comparatively speaking to what they got down here, it was.
Rhode Island
paled in
and
comparison.
Rhode Island and the south coast of Massachusetts and Cape Cod. just
Foxborough got hammered.
smoked.
Yeah, they did.
Seeing
They did.
pictures from or videos from Plymouth, Mass, and from Situate of the seawall barricades just getting smoked by the ocean, the snow. I've never seen frozen waves in the ocean before. Like, I didn't know that was possible.
I got to give my girlfriend a lot of credit. She really
She dug out your car
she
for
helped
you.
me. She helped me
Yeah.
big time. It was
Did
a
you stay in
stressful
the house
project.
eating
She's a
bonbons?
keeper.
A third of my car was literally covered in snow, and I was like,
You have a
I was
Jeep.
like,
Why
I'll
didn't you
handle
just
it. I'll handle it. I don't know,
barricade
I get
right
worried
through?
about that. I get worried about that because I have a fence in front of me.
Okay.
So the fence was here. My car was basically nose up to the fence.
Yep.
I had
So
to
you can
dig
just go back.
around like this
Yeah.
to the other side,
Yeah.
and again, girlfriend's a gem. Helped
Yeah.
out big time,
A gem.
big time.
We got an email from David in Bethlehem. Paul's right. Storm of 78 was 46 inches in Peabody. Also said Bradbury's PFF grades were better than Wilson's. Preseason competition should settle any questions. Is Larison done?
I don't know about Lan Larison. To answer the last one first, we'll see. I mean, he'll get a chance to, I would imagine, get a chance to compete throughout OTAs and see where he is physically. The PFF grades that will not factor into that. There's a lot of, it's not always about like, oh, these two guys played all summer and they were man for man and one guy was better. I mean, obviously, Jared Wilson will be a second-year guy. Garrett Bradbury will be going into what, year 10?
Yeah.
9, 10? So those are not always apples-to-apples comparisons. But I do agree. The big difference with the storms, not that people care about this as much, is just the wind and the tides, like the unbelievable damage on the coastline from 78. The snow totals were probably comparable. I mean, I think this is the most, I think Matt said this is the most that Providence has ever endured, Rhode Island in general. So the amount of snow is
At
probably
38 inches at the airport.
yeah,
Wow.
the amount of snow is probably similar, but the amount of damage that the Blizzard 78 did, some of that is
Different times.
preparation too.
Different
Just-
times.
There was
But-
no warning for 78, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that 78 came out of nowhere. We were out of school.
Meteorology was
for
not as
2
advanced
weeks,
as it is now.
and then it was like February vacation week, so we went 3 straight weeks of no
so
school
awesome.
in February.
How'd you even go back?
It wasn't that awesome.
I might have dropped out of high school.
On June 29th, when I was finishing my 6th grade year.
Oh.
Was that happening then? Like, did they still like add days to the end? Like,
Actually, it would have been 4th grade.
so they're still adding days to the end of the.
Oh yeah, and they didn't. I don't think we went 180 days that year because I don't think they could go into July.
Well, I think this storm, depending, like Long Island got nailed, so it's really like southern New England and then like the southern or the northern part of the southern part of the Northeast, because I think it was like hurricane wind forces that hit New Jersey and Long
Yeah.
Island. So
Yeah. So just by comparison, there was like 75, 80 mile an hour winds. Blizzard of 78, there was like 110, and it just hammered the coastline.
The wind was whipping though yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
That had to
It
be
was bad.
I haven't had a experienced in my lifetime a snowstorm like that yesterday.
No, and
was-
what made yesterday really bad was the fact that it came on the heels of the storm that we got about 3 weeks ago.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
We already
Which
had
is
so
still,
much
We already
snow.
got
still
hit.
there.
We
Yeah.
already had so much snow, and it has been so cold that it hasn't melted.
Hasn't melted.
So you have already, 6 to 15 inches of snow already in
Yeah,
certain
already sitting
places, and then
down,
now
yeah.
you're barreling on top of it. There's nowhere to put it.
It was-
That's the
more coming
problem.
Wednesday.
What
More
was that?
coming Wednesday.
There's more snow coming Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's to the point where the 1 to 3 we're getting overnight into tomorrow is like, yeah, don't bother me.
I blame the groundhog, to be honest. With you.
So, of course, if you want
I
to
do.
tell us about how much snow you received in your area, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can call the Patriots Unfiltered hotline at 855-PATS-500, or you can email us at podcasts@patriots.com. And Alex is thrilled to be able to read your emails. And
This is gonna be fun.
You got a stack.
We get a lot
you
of
got
spam
stack
emails.
phone
I
board over that?
didn't realize the spam emails.
Well, you probably
we
don't
get.
want to read the spam.
Anything's better than the emails I was getting in San Francisco. But
that's a fact.
Steve writes in to say, Chris, she's a keeper. Don't let her go.
Yeah. No, for sure. Definitely is.
Love that. Something we should probably address, another email from Brad. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Since the Super Bowl, I have been very much on the side of developing Will Campbell at left tackle and just sorting out left guard center. However, I saw that Jason LaCanfora
Yep.
was reporting that the Patriots were showing serious interest in picking up Packers left tackle Rasheed Walker and moving Will Campbell to right tackle as opposed to left guard, with the possibility of Morgan Moses deciding to retire.
Huh.
I've heard a million people talk about moving Will Campbell out of left tackle to the inside, but never to the other side of the line. What do you guys think of this possible pickup? So Eliot Wolf did address this, not in the press conference that we live streamed, but he does another little kind of roundtable discussion with just the Patriots beat writers who are on boots on the ground in Indy.
Yep.
And he basically said this was not true. Flat out declined that rumor. He's also in his press conference said he thought Will Campbell played really well all year, but then a little bit of his lower body strength really wasn't there after the injury tail end of the season. But it seems like they're still really confident with him at left tackle. He denied that report, and really, I wouldn't say it was a report to begin with. I think it was just Jason LaCanfora kind of just writing about possible situations that could play out in this offseason, and then the Twitter aggregators then take that, present it as a report,
I agree.
and then it just snowballs.
I mean, Will Campbell isn't leaving the left side of the line.
So-
I just don't see a situation where he is.
And I'm glad that you said that, Alex, about and I did not see the Lecanfora item. I don't know.
It was
how,
just
I
an
don't know,
article.
I don't know how it was
Items.
presented.
Yeah.
Item's a good word.
Okay, but like 2 weeks ago on this show, I mentioned Rasheed Walker as a possible target for
Mm-hmm.
the Patriots in free agency. Now, if someone's listening, they might. Well, Perillo's
Patriots,
reporting,
Paul
like,
Perillo reports.
No, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
I just thought it's rare that starting caliber left tackles hit free agency in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally going into year 5. So it's the first time he could be a free agent. He's been a starter for the Packers, and I just putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Given Morgan Moses' age and Will Campbell's struggles, maybe that might be a guy. But by no means was I reporting that the Patriots are interested in him.
Right.
And I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to let La Confora off the hook. Maybe he did report it. Maybe he did what Alex said and just sort of presented it as, hey, this might make sense for the Patriots.
Yeah.
And that's what it was to me looking into the article. But I would just say take the aggregation accounts with a grain of salt. Look into the Dov Kleinmans of the Twitter world. Look at what they're actually pulling this information from, and just, I don't know, use some common sense when you read this stuff, because it wasn't a report.
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel said the day after, the Super Bowl, or whenever we had the press conference on Tuesday, I guess, that Will would stay at left tackle, and Wolf reiterated that today. But again, I don't think that closes the door on a possible move for him. My guess is that they're going to give him year 2 to see if he can sort of solidify the spot. I've been pretty consistent with this all along. I am not basing my feeling on the playoffs, because what Eliot Wolf said today about Will Campbell in the playoffs is probably true. He probably did lose some of his lower body strength as a result of the sprained MCL that he was playing with.
Right.
Now, that said, he was 9 weeks removed from the sprained MCL by the time the Super Bowl came around. So if that's not the whole thing, I think that his playoff performance is being exaggerated in a negative way.
Yeah.
And I think his performance prior to that is being exaggerated in a positive way.
Well, I think, too, I agree with you, and I would say just look at the level of competition, not to bring up the soft schedule narrative, but the competition of defenses they played in the postseason was just an absolute freaking gauntlet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Will Campbell was okay for a rookie left tackle.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not willing to say that this is a disaster. I'm not willing to say pencil him in for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the only two courses of action.
Yeah.
Right.
There's the pro Will Campbell crowd that says, this is your guy, 4th overall pick, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. And then there's this other side that says, I watched the 3 playoff games and then the Super Bowl. We need to make a change at left tackle. And I don't think either one of those is accurate right now.
I think a big – this is – I just kind of thought of this right now. But in my head, I compare –
This is dangerous.
I can't wait.
This could be newsletter worthy.
This is no, I do believe that in my head, I think a lot of people and what they want to see in Will Campbell going into year 2 is a lot of what they saw in Drake, and how Drake's development from year 1 to year 2 is a massive jump. I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to be as big of a jump as Drake took, but you go into the next year and
I get it.
And Will is okay. He was serviceable year 1, rookie year, getting his feet wet, all of that. Go into year 2. Now he's confident, stronger, looks quicker. All of these things sort of factor in. And I think that's sort of how people want to view Will going into his second year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really level-headed take. He had his moments, in the first 3 months of the season where I thought he looked better than others. I just feel like some people have overestimated a little bit how those moments worked. And I would say that the exact opposite is true in the playoffs. Yeah, he struggled, and Alex is right, against some really good players. And you would say,
and he had another rookie.
Those are the ones that you're going to see,
right? Of course, but he also had another rookie next to him, and I know that he's going to take the heat because he was the higher pick and this premier draft pick. But I always go back to Evan's point about what if they had, I don't know, not to bench Jared Wilson, but what if they just subbed in Ben Brown in the Super Bowl or in some of those games?
What if they go out and get a veteran left guard? We can talk about Rasheed Walker at left tackle. What if they go out and they sign a veteran left guard that maybe solidifies that, and Wilson moves inside? So now you have, a little bit more bulk, because I think they were a little bit undersized at both guard and tackle.
Exactly.
The way that they did it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I say this all the time when we talk about offensive line. I'm not Dante. I'm not an expert. I'm not a budding Division I star like, Chris Cassidy.
Okay.
I saw Dante this weekend at on Sunday, a girls' flag event we had. That he always comes to support Donna and the community work. But nice to see Scar. But like you said, you're not Scar. But he did say, I would stand by Will. I'm not firing that guy.
Yeah, I think he'll get every opportunity in year 2 to show that he can do it. Now, if we're having these conversations next year at this time, I would say it's time to move. But I think that in fairness to both sides, the team and the player, I think another year would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then you adjust accordingly.
Should we get to the phones?
Yeah, we got. Look at them. They're waiting.
Is this the button I
as
hit?
no
Or
socks.
just this?
I get the
Nate in Connecticut.
Okay, so you have to hit the gray.
Bear with us, guys.
See the gray
This
oval?
guy-
There you go. Boom. Then you drop them with
how
the
you
other
guys
one.
doing?
Hey, Nate. Snow day
Nate?
for you?
Yep, this is the second day in a row that we've had a snow day.
Living large. What's up,
Yeah.
Nate?
I got a couple things for you guys today. First off is Eliot Wolf saying that edge rusher is going to be a big priority this offseason. How do you guys think we're going to go on acquiring one of those? Do you think we're going to dip into free agency, or do you think we're going to go for the draft for that? And then second off,
Well, just
Hooper.
Nate, just to update on that, Wolf did mention that it dovetails nicely with a very strong edge rusher draft class. So I don't know if that's a peek into the mindset or if it's just coincidental.
I think it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
And
your
then,
second thing, Nate?
off with, Austin Hooper. I know I was listening to Catch 22, and they were talking about how Austin Hooper, his future could be, a little shaky. Or I just wanted your thoughts on whether or not we go on keeping him. He has somewhat. Last year he was more productive, I would say, than this year, but I don't think it would hurt to draft a tight end and possibly develop him. Austin Hooper is on the older side, and I think it'd be good to get some young tight ends. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no, both of their tight ends are getting on in years. They need an upgrade. Yeah, absolutely.
Paul, I've been wanting to ask you. I don't know if I've talked to you about your Everett brethren, Isaiah Likely.
I was going to mention him.
Yeah, I mean, really good pass catcher. I don't think he offers much in the blocking department, and it all depends. There's been a lot of talk about people watch the way the Rams play offense. Evan talks about this all the time, and they have all of these formations. The 13 personnel with all these tight ends, and the reason that they're able to do it is because those guys are pretty versatile. They're not as talented. No one's going to confuse like Kobe Parkinson with, George Kittle, or some of the Sam Laporte is these really gifted pass catchers.
Yeah.
But they give you enough as receivers to go along with solid blocking that you can dictate the matchups offensively. Isaiah Likely is pretty much Mac Hollins. He's
just going to say that too.
And I like Isaiah Likely. I think he's a good young player, and he would make some sense. Another tight end that has been sort of just continuing with some of the NFL news. Kyle Pitts is a guy for Atlanta that a lot of people sort of said he would make some sense in free agency. He will not. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting to free agency or true free agency. Looks like the Falcons are going to franchise him. So, that takes a guy off the board potentially. But I do think, to Nate's point, the Patriots need some tight end development. Absolutely.
I agree. I think Isaiah Likely, he's my favorite tight end in that class, in my opinion. Just overall production level, I think Likely has done the most. I think Pitts has sort of figured it out a little bit, but now that we mentioned the franchise tag, I think the league is just going a little bit of a different route with tight ends, where they are now becoming receiver options. Like you mentioned, the Mac Hollins option. You kind of compare the two downfield receivers. Likely, Lamar loved Isaiah Likely downfield, especially routes towards the end zone. Post patterns, flags, all that. Loves it. I think Likely could be beneficial in the passing game, but I think it all has to do with where you go with Mac Hollins.
Yeah, so I think that you can start doing some of those things with those formations if you want to go like blocking heavy, and you had Hollins and another blocking type tight end, because I think Mac Hollins is a really well-rounded receiver who blocks in the running game, and obviously Drake has had a good rapport with him.
Right.
A lot of those sort of, it's just the big catch radius. A lot of the contested catches away from the body. I think Mac Hollins was effective in that role last year, and may like to throw it to him. But it's hard to just say, okay, well, we're going to bring Isaiah Likely in that's not necessarily going to help you out as much in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that I would be opposed to it because of that. I think it'd be a weapon in the passing game. And again, a lot of this stuff is going to be tied to what they do with Diggs too.
Right.
You know, does
sure,
Diggs
yeah.
come back? If Diggs doesn't come back, I'm fine with that as a Joe fan.
Yep.
But you got to replace him. You can't just say, well, we'll be okay with Keyshawn Boutte and Demario Douglas and Efton Chisholm and Kyle Williams. Like, you need to bring in somebody to go with Matt Collins and not just be instead of Diggs. It needs to be an addition.
Mm-hmm.
So tweets coming out of Indy.
Tweets.
I'm going to read Phil Perry because he did. Eliot was asked more specifically about Diggs and expanded on some of his comments. So reading from Phil Perry's Twitter, Eliot Wolf on if Stephon Diggs' pending legal situation will impact his standing with the team. Eliot said, "We'll just kind of see what comes of it, what comes next of it. We're monitoring those situations not only with our legal and security department, but with Steph's people as well. Is it important for Diggs to return given what he gave them in 25? Steph had a tremendous season. Again, the leadership he showed was great. And these are conversations that we'll continue to have and weigh everything and talk about different things as we move forward."
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of layers to it. It's not just about his contract. It's not just about his age and production, and it's not just about how strong he was in the locker room last year. There are other things involved, and those all matter. All
Right.
three of those factors matter in my view. But the off-field stuff has to matter too. Is this a one-off? Did it actually happen? What's going to be the results and the ramifications of it? Who knows? Not, and if
something
any
to
of
keep
us
an eye
knew,
on,
we would
yeah.
we'd come out and tell you. But we're going to fall back on the team and say you got to let the legal process play out.
Right.
An email from Dave in Maine. Were you guys really not surprised about the Gibson cut? It only saves $8 million and they need 3 running backs. Wishful thinking, but maybe they are clearing out a locker room for Breece Hall. Also, some caller or emailer on Caller Crime. Also, do you think you can convince Christian in LA to buy the Seahawks? He can definitely afford it. Seems like the kind of guy that brags about his $50 million mansion, but in reality, he shares a double wide with his hot cousin who moved to LA to become an actor. What a D-bag. Christian does so much for this show.
Sorry for laughing so hard, Christian, but that was funny. I would be very surprised if the Patriots made any kind of a major move for a running back.
Yeah.
I think Ramondre Stevenson was outstanding down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I like Breece Hall as a player, but I don't think they need to make that kind of a splash at running back.
No.
I think I think the first email that you read, just sort of as a throwaway line at the end, is where's Lan Larison?
Oh, yeah.
They might like a guy like that.
Yeah.
And he might be, sort of ticketed for that third running back spot. I mean, let's face it, they played the whole last half of the season with really only 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Dearness Johnson returned kicks. I mean, he got a handful of carries in garbage time in some of those games, but it was Stevenson and Henderson. There'll be a third guy.
Yeah.
Someone else will be on the roster, whether it's Lan Larison or someone else. I don't think it'll be the caliber of Breece Hall.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder if Gibson getting cut might have happened anyways, even if he didn't get hurt. I don't know. I don't know if it's as much. Do you think it's about as much of like saving money as it is just like a vote of confidence in Henderson and Ramondre, or
I think
getting younger?
I think it's a little bit more that
Getting younger.
and also I do think it's a little bit of you have so many running backs on this roster, you just do, and I think no matter what, somebody was going to be moved in some sort of capacity.
So I just look at it as sometimes they tell you, sometimes coaches do coach speak. Mike Vrabel doesn't do great with coach speak.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel kind of tells you what he's thinking. You're always examining how to get younger, cheaper, and better.
Right.
So I think Alex hits the nail on the head. I don't think Antonio Gibson did anything wrong.
No.
And had he played out the season and was really productive in the season, then maybe we'd have a different conversation. But he did get hurt. He has been in the league for a few years. You have 2 other guys that you feel good about. We don't need 3 guys that are experienced. And he's, through no fault of his own, he's the third guy.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense, if you can get a guy like Lan Larison, and I only use him because he went through training camp last year, looked like they had some ideas and thoughts for him. and then he got hurt in the preseason.
Right.
That's the only reason why I bring him up. I'm not suggesting Lan Larison's a better player than Antonio Gibson because I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, we just saw him in training camp.
What kind of player Lan Larison may or may not be in the NFL. But those are the kinds of moves that NFL teams make in 32 different organizations. When you're talking about your third or fourth running back, I'd rather not have a 6 or 7 year guy in that role. I'd rather have a first year player, which Lan Larison would be coming in next year.
Yeah.
Someone like that is going to fill that role.
People really enjoying the Will Campbell dialogue. Tim Cook writes in, is this Tim Cook from Apple, you think? That'd be pretty cool if he listens. It was reported that Will Campbell has had an MCL sprain of a certain level, which I think in layman's terms is a tear of some type.
Correct.
Doesn't that mean he will need surgery since ligaments don't repair themselves?
MCLs do.
Does anyone know whether he's scheduled to have surgery of any type? Thanks, Timmy Cook.
Yeah, I believe he is not scheduled to have. In general, that's how they go about this. Alex, you are nodding, so you might know more about this than me. But MCLs are not the same as ACLs.
I've torn my MCL. I did not need surgery.
You don't need surgery to repair that.
Just learned something new.
Yeah, it's like a 4 to 6 kind of week injury.
Yeah. Tim writes in, hey, Unfiltered, the Patriots went worst to first thanks to the great work of Coach Vrabel and staff. Let Will hit the weight room and another full season in the program. Will should be motivated to be the best he can be, from worst left tackle in the playoffs to the best.
Ideally, in a perfect world, that's the way it works out.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Back to some tight end talk. Hey, Alex and Co. A lot of people are talking about Pitts. What about David Njoku? I've always really liked him. Also, our ice storm was brutal. Power companies may stink, but a huge shout out to Lineman. Dylan in Nashville.
Yeah, I would certainly echo that last part. I don't believe David Njoku is leaving Cleveland, but, we'll see. He'd be a guy that I'd be interested in, sure.
Yeah.
And, in Cleveland had a young tight end in Harold Fannin that had a pretty good rookie year for them. They might look to do the same thing that we're talking about on a different level with Antonio Gibson, right? If you have a number 2 guy, do we need to have a number 2 guy that's making what Njoku makes?
Right.
Maybe they will move on, but he's available. So we'll see if Cleveland ends up holding on to him.
I think he's one of those guys that you were talking about. I think he's the hybrid version of, kind of in between Hunter Henry and the Isaiah Likeleys. Really great, solid pass catcher. Solid in the run blocking department. He's an interesting tight end. I think he'd be a welcomed addition here in New England, but
yeah, he's been around. Just looking up, he's been around longer than I thought. 9 years. Yeah, so he'll be 29. Might be a little older than I would be looking for out of a second tight end.
I think Hunter's 29 too.
Hunter's getting up there,
yeah, and Hunter's going to be the starter.
Yeah.
So 29 might be a little. I like Njoku. I've always kind of liked his athleticism, his package.
Very appealing.
Not to go all Fred, talk about his package, but kind of like it.
Let's bang out some phone calls here before the break. Christian in Virginia. Christian.
Hey guys, how's it going? I had 2 guys in the draft that I wanted to tell you guys about, and then I also had a question for the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl. How much do you guys think the players watch tape to prepare for those one-on-one matchups there? And then the 2 guys I had, when you guys started talking about David Njoku, there's a guy in the draft from Baylor, Michael Trigg. He's a pretty good pass catcher, and he's around in between our 2nd and 3rd pick. And then Ted Hurst, this is my guy from the draft. I've liked him before all the draft stuff started coming out. I liked him in the spring. He is 6'3". He's a slower wide receiver, but his in-game athleticism is off the charts. He eats up zone. Not the most physical guy, so I don't know if Vrabel would love him that much. His blocking is not the best, and when guys press him on the line, he's kind of iffy. But he's a see ball, get ball type of receiver, and I think he would be a great weapon for the team.
All right.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks. Cool. Yeah, the draft stuff, individual names, it's way too early for at this point. I'm talking about specific to the Patriots, not telling us different prospects. In terms of the East-West Shrine and the Senior Bowl, I I don't think there's a lot of individual prep that goes on. Like, if I'm a left tackle, I'm not necessarily watching every edge rusher on film, on tape. Before I'm preparing myself for for what I have to do. I think that kind of film study would be reserved for when you play. When you're actually playing games and whatnot, and you're going against the specific opponent, as opposed to whoever's up next in the line at Senior Bowl practice.
If you genuinely have a matchup that you're like, I need to make sure I win that one to sort of up my value, I think that's when you do it.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that they don't have any idea who they're going against. I mean, the guy from LSU might know, like, I'm going to see that guy from Alabama just like I did, in the SEC, and he's going to be there. But I know the guy, like that kind of familiarity, I think would help.
So, yeah.
But I don't know that there's extensive individual film work.
There's probably a baseline level, like a baseline of preparation that goes into the Senior Bowl or Shrine Bowl. But kind of like you said, I don't know how much further they'll go than that.
Kyle in Rochester has been on the line for a minute. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Just wanted to say 2 comments. First off, first time, long time. Been listening since the 21 Bills playoff game. So it's been a wild journey ever since. Enjoy you guys and the content. Second question, more of a comment, I guess. But I know we've been kind of circling around Max Crosby and A.J. Brown as far as pickups and trades. I just wanted to know your 2 cents about, like, the whole A.J. Brown. I know he had some past history with his knee coming out of the draft, and obviously Vrabel has had a relationship with him in the past. But I was just wondering if, besides A.J. Brown, as far as an offensive X factor, who else would you guys be looking to trade for if possible? Obviously, like Justin Jefferson, probably be a great option, but I don't know if that's a possibility. Thank you, guys.
Well, I mean, we could get in reality land and stay in Minnesota and say Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
Might be a guy that you could get. But no, they're not going to get Justin Jefferson. But Jordan Addison, how many receivers can you pay?
Yeah.
So teams don't like to sink a lot of money into one spot like that. Now, there's a little baggage with Addison. He's sort of been in and out of trouble last couple of years. But he's been a productive number 2 with Justin Jefferson.
He has.
I think he'd be a guy that I'd have some interest in.
I think when Minnesota drafted him, I think that's what they kind of wanted, was maybe how long you can go with Justin Jefferson being as productive as he has been. I don't know if they expected. Well, obviously they expected their first-round wide receiver to be unbelievable, because Justin Jefferson is unbelievable. But Addison is a very solid wide receiver, and I think anywhere else there's a possibility he could be the number 1 wide receiver. I think there's value there. I do like him as a player. It'd be interesting to see what would happen there. But
now I think because he's in the division, it'd be less likely. But Jalen,
Waddle.
Waddle. I was going to call him Warren, and I was like, I know that's not his name. Jalen Waddle is a guy that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very surprised if Miami dealt him, because I think Miami's going to, strip it down to the studs.
Yeah, they do.
Especially if they can't unload. That was another item today,
Tua.
by the way, is Tua. And certainly the intention for Miami is to try to trade him. That's going to be easier said than done with the price tag. But if they can trade him, then maybe Waddle can stay. But they're going to have some significant money issues, and they're going to be ripping it down to the studs. I just don't know if they would trade him in the division to the Patriots.
Especially when it's not like they have Tyreek Hill anymore either.
No.
Yeah. They just paid H.N., right? Didn't they just sign H.N. to a pretty solid extension?
Great question.
Pretty sure they did.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what H.N.'s situation is. I thought he was too young for that. Yeah, I think I think he'll be entering his 4th season. So he'd be like with Christian Gonzalez.
Up for an.
Is he under? Did he sign?
I looked it up on Twitter, so probably.
But so those are a couple of big names. Another trade guy, I think Nate in Connecticut was asking earlier whether we thought edge rusher, would you go to the draft? Would you go to free agency? Kayvon Thibodeau is a guy from the Giants that, the Giants now have 3. There's a lot of talk that everybody mentioned around the draft this time last year. will the Giants draft Abdul Carter because they already have Thibodeau and Brian Burns? I'm having problems with names today. It's not like me.
No,
you're taking over for Fred today,
yeah,
so it comes with the territory.
Good point.
You just battled a brutal storm too.
Conscious choice, dude.
Your heat went out. Your brain's frozen.
So they have a glut of pass rushers, and some people think that Thibodeau could be available. He wouldn't cost you anything like what you're talking about with Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Now you're not getting Max Crosby. You're getting a good player, not a great player.
Yeah.
But that might be an option too. In the trade market.
My friend Anthony in Seattle, hanging on for a long time. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Alex. Hey, what's up, my people? How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Anthony?
Good, good. Hey, I promise it's not caller-on-caller crime or anything, but that guy cracked me up a couple of calls ago with that glowing review. It was like, hey, what do you guys think about this slow receiver who doesn't block well? Cracked me up pretty good. Hey,
Doesn't get off press coverage either.
Right. Glowing review. Hey, I wanted to just give Gibby his flowers on the way out. I know a lot of Patriots fans, we like to kick guys on the way out, and there's no reason to kick this particular player. But, I mean, the guy, this is one of, a series of roster moves that the brain understands, but the heart doesn't. Same with, Peppers and Duggar. And it's, with the understanding that, if you're going to turn over a roster and, all these things, you're gonna have to part ways with some players that you love, but understand that these players, won you 4 games in each of the last 2 seasons. But I just wanted to you can almost single-handedly credit him with the turnaround of the season. And I know butterfly effect, things are different, but let's just say, we give up that punt return. Now, we went down to Miami, we played a good game, we finally kind of showed some fight, but here we go again. We're going to lose to Tua again. It's going to be 0-2, and then, again, butterfly effect, but let's just say you go into Pittsburgh the next week, you turn the ball over 5 times, now you're 0-3. I don't think you get out of a 0-3 start to get to the Super Bowl. But you know what? That was the first sign of, not this time. Things are going to be different. He breaks through an arm tackle. He stiff arms a guy. The separation was beautiful, and we're all jumping off the couch screaming so I love the guy. I wish him the best. I kind of saw this coming because it's at the age, and then with that injury, I had a couple of people say, we'll get Gibson back next year. I go, we're even if Gibson stays with the team next year, that Gibson probably ain't coming back. So anyway, I just wanted to call in and give him his flowers, man. Love the show, and it looks like Fred finally said enough of the wrong stuff to get pulled off the air, huh?
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it, Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony.
Excellent phone call.
Per usual.
Sometimes we overstate things and whatnot, but I don't think anything that Anthony just said is out of the realm of possibility. That kickoff return, first of all, the individual game has been credited numerous times by Mike Vrabel as sort of being the spark that lit the season. That play doesn't happen. Let's just say he returns the kick to the 25-yard line, and they go 3 and out, and Miami closes the game out. Everything he just said is completely within the realm of possibility. How you go from there. He returns the kick for a touchdown, and it certainly gave a lot of belief in a locker room that I think's biggest strength was belief.
Right.
And it's one thing to sit there and say, I think this coach is doing a really good job, Chris. I think Mike Vrabel has really established a culture, and he's doing all the right things. But until you get the tangible result of winning, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And that play in a season full of huge moments and huge plays, you'd be hard-pressed to find one any bigger than that one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'd love to say, too, just off the field, Chris, you know this from the locker room, Gibson was so awesome to deal with. He's such a laid-back guy. He's so cool and fun, cracks jokes with you, just like a real dude, like a normal dude. And his wife is the best, too. Shout out Tori.
Hilarious.
Love that
so
girl.
Beth was very, very disappointed. She got home from work yesterday, and she's just scrolling through her Instagram. She's like, did Antonio Gibson get released?
Yeah.
Because of
his wife.
Yeah.
His wife was, everyone's going to, I know Ann Michael May and our former WAG Cardi B, they get a lot of, publicity, right? But Tori Gibson was really huge on TikTok.
Yeah.
My girlfriends who, they're surface level Pats fans. They're not in the weeds, right? But the news was broken to me by one of my best friends, Sammy, and she's like, "Oh no, Gibson's gone." Tori just posted on TikTok, like she was really beloved, and I can't say enough about the people that come here, especially them. They're from the South, and they loved New England. They really embraced it, and you love to see that. So I really wish the Gibson family the best of luck. They have another baby on the way, and nothing but love for them.
I think just Gibson, when he made his mark here in New England, I think big thing for him was he was coming off of not a bad season in Washington, but sort of revitalized his career here in a way. I think his ability to be effective and get the touches and the reps he was given, I mean, he made the most of them, when he could. And
I don't even know
put a lot of
if
effort in,
his
so.
first year here we used him the right way. I feel like he came in touted as like a really good pass catching back.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think we really used him
he
correctly.
Was a college wide receiver
in the combine. He was in as a receiver.
So I think we started to see that at the beginning of this season. The injury just so unfortunate, but yeah.
All right, so we're going to get ready to step aside, but before we do, I have to take care of Bob's. All right. Because it might be the off season for football, but tax season is definitely here, and your tax refund goes further at Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop Bob's and score more high-quality, affordable finds like game day ready power reclining sofas, with more places to charge your phone, storage-filled dining sets with more seating styles to fit the. That was a little Fred like that. More seating styles. I just had to do a little Fredism right there. So with more seating styles to fit the whole team and comfy Bobopedic mattresses with more years on their warranties so you can rest up until next season. Stop in or shop online and get more for less with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. We'll be back. Hopefully we'll have some an update from Evan in Indy and more of your wonderful phone calls.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
The heaviest metal credit card of all time. Wielded at business dinners like a samurai sword. It's a classic corporate power move. But the real power move? Having end-to-end visibility on your most critical shipments. FedEx, the new power move.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to get started out by saying, just acknowledging everyone in New England that's affected by the blizzard. A lot of people with no power, and we're thinking about you.
I hear
my wife's going through it right now as well. Dog
I hear
got stuck in the snow
background
this morning,
noise
so,
that I think is coming
just
from
kind of acknowledging that it's tough out there and hoping that everyone's staying safe. Piggybacking off of that, just want to thank Nancy Meyer, the logistical gymnastics that went into sending so many people from our organization here to the Combine. Pretty remarkable what she was able to do. We actually ended up flying out a day and a half early to Detroit, drove down, but we're here. We're able to knock out some of the meetings that we had early, so it ended up being a good thing. But, just wanted to open it up for any questions at this time.
Lastly, obviously, you all are stand-ups. These guys have to run. I'm wondering, how important was that draft? Not good with.
Yeah, I mean, it was tremendously important. We're very excited about the draft class, and they're just getting started. You know, they're still young. We were able to get some good minutes out of those guys, and that's a credit to Coach Vrabel and his staff getting those guys ready to play. And I think it's a tribute to them buying into the culture so quickly and understanding that what it means to be a Patriot, and we're excited about the progress that they've made moving forward. Yeah, I mean, the safety position, like you said, they have to be able to do everything. They have to be able to play down in the box, man cover, tackle in space, and having guys that are interchangeable just kind of opens up a lot of different things for the defense that Zach Kerr and Terrell Williams can kind of employ. So we're excited about those guys. Obviously, Hawkins is a free agent, and he's earned the opportunity to see what's out there, but he's certainly someone that we would welcome back. Yeah, first thing you have to look at is, communication is so underrated at that position. I think maybe a lot of fans don't understand that. Being able to communicate, set the defense, that's something that we talk to the coaching staffs in college about, and just making sure that, anyone that comes in has to be able to communicate and be smart. But on the field, it's the athleticism, it's the change of direction, it's the speed and range, the anticipation that these guys play with are very important traits that we look for.
Eliot, now you've had 2 night offs for, I think it'll reach out to go forward. Guys are already finding a safe field. You guys hungry.
Yeah, I think you can look at that in 2 different ways. On one hand, maybe they're coming in a little bit more entitled, but on the other hand, they're coming in more prepared from a business standpoint. Like, they've had money, they know what it's like, they know, some financial literacy and understanding the trials and tribulations that come with that. So I think it's a double-edged sword. It's like anything, you just have to be able to adjust, and every person can be different. No, not really. I mean, we have a standard set of questions that we ask, and each formal interview that we have, we sort of tailor to the player that's in there. So each interview is not exactly the same, but if there's some questions and concerns that are raised about different things, we'll kind of press on that. I don't know if I'd look at it as risky. I think you have to do what's best for the football team, and with our best 5 out there, I think we won a lot of games. Obviously, the last game was not very productive, in a lot of areas on offense, and we're just excited that Will and Jared are made of the right stuff, and we're excited about what they're going to do moving forward.
How is that dog?
The dog is okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's good.
How would you describe why the Patriots are playing draw?
We're going to explore every avenue to try to improve the team. We filled a lot of needs last year, and we're still building. We have areas that maybe we feel good about the starters, but maybe the depth's not where we want it to be. We have areas where we maybe need to add a starter. So I think it's going to be sort of a holistic approach, and working together with Coach Vrabel and his staff and the scouting staff and Richard Miller and Matt Groh on the contract side, and we're going to try to build this thing, to improve the team as best we can. Again, I think we're going to try to do its best. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend because Drake's on a rookie contract. We're going to, again, make decisions, both for the short and long term that we see as best moving forward.
Are still building. So your build is still as a rebuild for so maybe to make Super Bowl. I feel like you're on a 4-2 away now. You just get it back.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call it a rebuild. I think we have a nice core of players. Whether that's a core of veteran players that we rely on, or some of the younger up and coming players like the rookies that were mentioned earlier. So again, I just think every year is an opportunity. Every year is different. Every year is an opportunity in free agency and the draft to improve the roster. And, it's not just free agency in the draft. It's trades, it's waiver claims, it's, restricted free agency, all those things. We're going to explore everything that we can.
And now, great moments in history.
I have to be honest, he thoroughly confuses me almost every time he calls. Like, what on the Monday? What Monday? Yesterday?
Maybe a week from Monday that there's no official practice scheduled, but there might be a secret practice of some sort that we would that hasn't
we
been
will be
announced
live during the two Panthers
Tuesday and
practices, which is
Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right.
Like we always, I mean, since we started doing the joint practices, we've always done live during the joint practices.
Yet.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know. It might be a me thing.
Any camp that we go to, we'll have a camp cast wrap at the very least.
Paul gets very defensive when anyone asks him, "Are you going to be doing any work?" He gets very defensive.
Well,
we do lots of work.
Like, are you going to continue the camp cast? It's like, no. We decided this year we're going to only half a camp. We're going to do we're not going to do the rest.
God knows. He knows we got him.
That's another great moment from
They're all great moments from Patriots Unfiltered history.
Look who we got.
Evan.
As I live and breathe, there he is.
Hello.
Evan Lazar holding down the fort.
What's up, Ev?
Minus Deuce. Are you okay without Deuce?
No, Paul. I'm like Maverick at the end of Top Gun. Like, I don't have Goose with me, and it's like I need my wingman. You know, it's not the same without him. But he's en route. I think he's going to make it for Mike Vrabel and everything going on tomorrow. So that's exciting.
Interesting that you call him your wingman. That's kind of interesting. I'll make sure I let him know. We obviously heard from Eliot Wolf earlier. Any particular thoughts that came away for you?
Yeah, I think that, the number one question that we tried to ask him probably 6 different ways and all the different times we got to speak with him was just, how do they approach this offseason in terms of, is this year 2 of a rebuild, or are they in this win now mode now coming off the Super Bowl? And I think he kind of split it down the middle, right? Like, I think they know that they have made a lot of progress, but acknowledge that they have significant holes still to fill on the roster, and some of those positions he pointed to, or all the ones we're talking about, really, edge, offensive line. He calls them playmakers. I think that puts wide receiver and tight end in the same bucket there. So they understand, where they're at, but I think they're also pretty optimistic, obviously coming off the year they just had.
Mm-hmm. Evan, what were your big takeaways from the little, not private roundtable, but the little sit down that Eliot did with all the beat writers that wasn't streamed to the fans?
Yeah, that was a good talk, and we should have one of those with Vrabel as well tomorrow, and you get a little bit more into the weeds of the roster. We asked him about Stephon Diggs and his future. He said that they expect Harold Landry and Morgan Moses to be at least in camp in 2026 for the Patriots, and he acknowledged tackle is in need. We talked a little bit about edge rushers and what they kind of look for in those players, because that seemed to keep coming up as something that they feel like they need to hit here this offseason. Those were all good things with the edge rushers. He mentioned, pass rush ability was the first thing that he said, and I thought what was interesting about his answer is he really didn't mention run defense a single time when it came to those edge guys. Like, it was all get up the field, speed and violence, not a whole lot of conversations about the edges, like we had with Bill Belichick, where it's let's set the edge of the defense, let's, stop the run. That didn't seem like at the top of the priority list. A couple of other things, Christian Gonzalez's name, of course, came up a little bit as well, and while acknowledging that they, obviously want to keep Gonzo and keep working with Christian Gonzalez, he said that they'll kind of address those negotiations at the right time. So that one seemed like maybe this isn't exactly the time of the calendar that they would make something like that happen, which I think tracks with some of the other guys in that similar situation where it's more of like a summer thing that they get around to that.
Ev, just a question from me. Did you get a sense of like where Eliot could have been talking about kind of building the depth at the edge rusher position? Did it seem like it could come more from free agency or from the draft? Did you have a sense of like where he could be thinking there?
Yeah, he was pretty tight-lipped about talking about players that are currently under contract with other teams. So, he was asked like the Max Crosby question and things like that, and he didn't really want to touch that. But he did acknowledge, the depth in the draft at edge rusher, and I think everybody you talk to here is saying that the best position group in this year's draft is at edge. Mm-hmm. And he said that it's a nice marriage between a need for the team and, one of the strengths of the draft. So my guess is that, maybe they do both, and it's, free agent and it's a draft pick, but I think they are, I'd be surprised if they come out of the draft and they didn't use a high pick, top 100 pick on one of those edge guys.
Mm. Ev, I'm curious your thoughts on how he answered when he was asked specifically about Stephon Diggs. And you mentioned it earlier that these are different things. I felt like he sort of told us something by not telling us something when he didn't necessarily just say, well, he's under contract. He kind of included him as one of those guys. We're not going to talk about individual players. Did you read anything into how he answered the Diggs question?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit different than what he said about Landry and Moses. That's for sure. Like, he said those two guys we expect to be back. He didn't say the same thing about Stephon Diggs. And, one of the things that he was also asked about was just the number one receiver idea and, how they kind of approach getting that sort of guy, an alpha or whatever you want to call it. And, he mentioned that part of the thing that he likes about the Josh McDaniels offense is that it is an offense that tends to spread the ball around, and there isn't a focus necessarily on feeding one specific player. So I do wonder if they kind of like just having depth 1 through 5 and this like holistic approach to the passing game that, maybe they feel comfortable with that sort of setup. And by adding to some of the depth that they've had, with Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte and Mac Hollins coming aboard and drafting Kyle Williams, like they do have better depth at wide receiver than what we've seen over the last couple of years. So, maybe that is how they feel about it. He's also kind of asked about tight end too, and talked a little bit about, possibly adding somebody behind Hunter Henry. It didn't really sound like that one was, let's go out and sign a top free agent like Isaiah Likely or something at the very top of the market. That one I think was more along with linebacker, kind of like developmental sort of view. But the Diggs thing did strike me. I don't think that they were fully I don't think he wanted to fully put the weight of his word behind Diggs 100% being here in next year or in the future.
Makes sense. What's the week look like for you and Deuce? What do you guys got going on? What are you paying attention to? How's the itinerary going to play out?
So today was, Eliot Wolf. We had a couple guests here at the table. Dane Brugler from The Athletic, Jordan Reed from ESPN. So the Beast himself was just next to me about half an hour ago. We had a great conversation with him. That's becoming a yearly one, so that one's always fun. I told him that I kept him for like 20 minutes because I said I'm so far behind on the draft that I needed his help.
I need to cheat.
So I was just peppering him with questions. Tomorrow, Mike Vrabel will talk at 1 o'clock. That will be live at the podium, and then we'll also get him on a sit-down interview like we did with Eliot, and then I think we'll have that local media scrum here as well. So that was good. Just a little behind the scenes off the field, as we like to say. St. Elmo's last night.
Okay.
Good time.
Already hit it, huh? You hit it without Deuce.
Yeah. St. Elmo's at the staff, all of us here went, and we did not have Deuce with us, so we actually left a seat open.
Nice.
Next to me, that was just earmarked for Mike Dussault.
Did you pour one out for him?
Yeah.
We poured one out for Mike that he couldn't. He's the one that made the reservation,
Oh.
and he wasn't even there.
Wow.
You guys got to go back with him.
Ev, what was the order? What'd you get?
I got the shrimp cocktail, of course.
Oh, okay.
Got the navy bean soup. The navy bean soup, I'm telling you, is the most underrated part of the meal at St. Elmo's. That soup is very good, 10 out of 10. And then a nice center cut fillet, of course.
How'd you have it cooked?
Medium rare,
Okay.
per recommendation of our waiter. He said you're you're gonna want it medium rare, and I was like, you're right. I do want it medium
I
rare.
heard at like the really bougie high-end steakhouses, you can say medium rare plus, and they'll understand what that means. It's another temperature that's between medium and medium rare.
What?
I'm gonna try that out sometime.
Correct.
So
Evan knows.
Yeah, a little bit right in that middle ground of you can get rare plus or medium rare plus is right in the middle of those two temperature levels. We were actually in a nice private room too, and in the wine cellar of St. Elmo's. So we had a nice private room down there. GMAT joined us because we had an extra space because Deuce was not with us. So Jerry was with us too. That was great. It was a great time, and it's a great night.
Do you see yourself going for a second time this week? Need to know.
Just to let you know, Chris, I've already been twice, so that answers your question. So night one, a smaller group of us we were like, let's just go get some shrimp cocktail. Why not? When in Rome. And then we went back last night. We got Prime 47 tomorrow night, so we're hitting all the spots. Don't worry. This is that kind of trip. This is that kind of trip. You got to go to all the good eats around here.
Before I let you go, Ev, just overall, we heard from Wolf, but there's plenty of other NFL types talking today. I know you probably heard some of them. Anything stick out to you?
We did hear a little bit about hear the Raiders and Spytech and what he had to say about Max Crosby. I remember though it was a couple years ago now, but the Giants GM at the time was insistent that they weren't trading Odell Beckham Jr. Right? Yep. He was definitely going to be a Giant. I remember the Cardinals GM saying that Josh Rosen was their quarterback, and then they took Kyler Murray, a couple months later. So you always take these things with a grain of salt. But I thought the Raiders brass was pretty consistent that they want Max Crosby to stay. I think that. The Baltimore Ravens GM on Tyler Linderbaum was interesting, saying that they made a top-of-the-market offer to him already. So that's another kind of big-name free agent that the Patriots probably aren't going to be in on a center, but it has a trickle-down effect on the whole market if he's not available. So those are the couple of things that stood out to me just in terms of who's going to hit free agents. Because this is the time of year, guys, where we always get into it, and then it's like Kyle Pitts gets tagged, and George Pickens gets tagged, and this guy, gets an extension, and all of a sudden the talent pool in free agency shrinks, and there's not as much of the star power as maybe you thought there was going to be.
What's the overall vibe there? I know, the weather.
The mood?
Yeah, the weather obviously has not been great, so I'm just wondering, attendance-wise, what's it like in the team area, the content area?
I'm glad you asked that question because Fred would be proud of you asking me what the mood was. Because
I'm stumbling all over myself just to attend on Fred today.
Yeah. Not everybody made it. Now, Deuce didn't make it for us, which was sad. Not everybody on the beat made it either. So we got enough people though for Eliot that there was enough media to ask questions and all that good stuff. But there was a handful of people that did not make it in time out of Boston. So that was definitely a big topic of discussion. We had the same route as the Patriots. A lot of the Patriots scouts and Eliot Wolf where flew to Detroit, and then we drove from Detroit to Indy, and so everybody kind of came up with some creative ways to get here. But there's a decent contingent, but definitely not as many as people that were planning on coming ended up coming because of the weather.
And who handled the driving?
What was that?
Who handled the driving for your vehicle?
No, I did not drive. No, definitely not. That was when Bradley drove.
Nice job, Bradley.
I won't do last names, Brad. Don't worry. I'm just gonna go first name. Yeah, Bradley stepped up. He drove a very nice Wagoneer that we got from the rental car place. And I was in the back seat with all the video team equipment all loaded up around me, and we drove and. It was a nice little drive. It really wasn't all that bad because you're not like going through any major cities or anything like that. So you're just driving through the middle of nowhere. So there's no traffic or anything. So yeah, we got here pretty quickly.
That's good.
Nice. All right, we'll let you go. We know you have work to do, and we'll check in with you later in the week. Hopefully your wingman will arrive before too long, and you can put them to work. You can have them do some of your menial tasks, And as always, Evan, thank you. And his spot was brought to you by Jersey Mike's, the turkey sandwich of the stars. For all your combine needs, make sure you check out Jersey Mike's.
We found a Jersey Mike's between Detroit and Indianapolis for lunch on Sunday. We scoped one out on en route. I have a sniffer for it, I was like, I know where it is.
Like a bloodhound. Thanks, Evan.
All right, Ev. Be safe out there.
All right, I'll see you guys soon.
Good.
See ya.
Thanks.
I love that we all just told him to be safe at the same time.
Yeah, we got normally out there you get a Jimmy John's, which isn't bad.
No.
It's no Jersey Mike's. It's a little different.
Okay.
So not surprised that Evan was able to find a Jersey Mike's though. So sounds like things are starting to cook out there, but I'm glad that live Evan got a similar kind of vibe about that Stephon Diggs thing that I did. Not necessarily sure there's anything there, but wasn't just the run-of-the-mill, and I didn't even know about him singling out Harold Landry and Morgan Moses.
Yep.
That, to me, lends even more credence to the fact that was a little bit of a different answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting to hear Morgan Moses is looking to be back for the 2026 training camp. I think that's big news for him. I think he had a really great year. I think that was an amazing pickup by that scouting department, and Eliot Wolf. They did a great job kind of bringing him on, and a lot of value there at that right tackle.
I was happy about
position.
that one. When they made all those free agent moves, I think we had one of our shows here, and we sort of talked about the best free agent signing that they made.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I think the best one was Morgan Moses, and I just felt like the leadership and all that stuff. Now, it turns out Milton Williams was the best one.
Absolutely.
He
of course.
had the biggest impact,
Yep.
and sometimes the most obvious. It's Occam's razor, right? It's the most obvious is the answer.
You knew that was going to be right.
But I feel good. I still feel good about me picking Morgan Moses because I think everything that I felt ended up happening. Now, I didn't expect him to play all 17 games, I'll tell you that.
And I think that is a great transition to what I was just going to say about my confidence in him coming back and playing another season, because you might not think of it because he's an O-lineman, and I don't think people kind of see O-lineman and picture like that guy's the picture of health. Morgan Moses puts so much in off the field to maintain longevity. He has a hyperbolic chamber, red light therapy. Like, he has his routine and his recovery absolutely dialed in, and I love that the younger guys are kind of learning from him. I know Will Campbell gave him a lot of credit for helping him in his rehab, because Moses like loaded up his hyperbaric chamber into his truck and like brought it in and stuff so he could use it. So really cool stuff there that I'm looking forward to talking to Moses about, and how like at that age, how you prepare your body for the season and maintain your health.
I also think that the way the staff handled Morgan Moses throughout the season as well, as far as like rest,
the Wednesdays,
the vet days off, load management.
He's one of those guys, like he's been around long enough that he's earned that right to have those days.
And we saw that. That's a great point, because we even saw it in the summer in training camp.
Right.
There was a day or two here or there that no Morgan Moses say, I don't think that's anything to worry about, and it wasn't.
He's taking a breather, and he again earned that right. He earned that right to be in that situation. So. Again, what an ad. I think that was a really, really positive addition to this Patriots team.
Let's dive back into some emails. We'll start with a fun, lighthearted one.
Why don't you read some? Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Usually it's Fresno. A lot of emails.
See what you did? Oh, yeah, you're right. A lot of emails. Spee and Fresno.
Why don't you read some?
Dumb semantic questions. Were the 2025-26 Patriots a Super Bowl team or a team that made the Super Bowl?
B.
I think so too.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week.
Yeah, and that's kind of the crux of, and Evan mentioned this. The crux of what everybody was trying to get to with Eliot Wolf today was what the Patriots' answer to that question is. Do you look at this as a continuation of a rebuild, or have you arrived and now you're tweaking things? Right. And I think to Eliot's credit, he's sort of in between. But if you felt like we're a Super Bowl team, we just fell short in the Super Bowl, then, you're trying to bring as much back. You're maybe trying to enhance with a big splash, here or there. as opposed to worrying about your draft picks. And I think they're trying to do a little bit of both because I think they feel like they are a playoff team, and with continuation along the building that they're doing, they can get over the hump.
Is Drake May a franchise quarterback or a quarterback for your franchise?
No, he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I would have answered the same way last year, though, when he wasn't winning any games.
This one's funny. Are mock drafts a useless activity or an activity for the useless?
Oh, man.
I like that. Both.
Yeah, and I understand, like, the traffic and the attention
Gotta
that
get the
mock
clicks.
drafts get, and I understand
Necessary
how it's
evil.
played. And I
Play the game.
I want to make
Gotta
money
play the
too.
game.
I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I know we need to create content that a lot of people are going to like. But I do think largely that they're useless.
Yeah.
And then, of course, is Christian in LA a loathsome goon or a deeply loathsome goon? I think I'm gonna take
Yeah,
a position
he's
as the
not
Christian
loathsome.
in LA apologist on the show.
He's not loathsome. Tiring.
I'm like
yes.
freshly learning about Christian in LA, so
I hope he calls in.
He will.
Couple more emails. Some stuff we haven't really talked about yet regarding Drake May. We have two I want to read. First one. Hey, y'all. Fun season to watch. I just have to bring up one thing before I can put it behind me. I'm surprised Drake's legs weren't a bigger part of the game plan. I had that as my not-so-sneaky key to the game. Looking forward to next year. Thank you, Eric.
talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Correct.
So did you think he tried to scramble a little bit and was unsuccessful?
Maybe a little bit. I think.
I do.
Yeah. I would say at the same time, I think a big part of Josh McDaniels' offense for him was to try to give Drake as much time as he could to throw first before Drake made that second decision.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily talking about designed runs.
No,
now,
of
if
course.
you had
Of
said,
course.
I was a little surprised they didn't have any really designed runs for him. Sure, maybe one or two of those might have been called for, but I want to say the first drive of the game, he scrambles out on a play and gets run down.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that was kind of like an eye-opening difference between the team that they were playing and the team that they had faced more often than not during the course of the year.
Yeah, that's
Those
true.
guys were catching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that they wanted him to run around a tremendous amount because of his shoulder.
Right.
And speaking of his shoulder, hey PU crew, longtime listener, love the show. Your analysis is great. I especially appreciate the off-season chatter and subtle, not so subtle Seinfeld references. We've turned the page to 2026, and I've listened to most of your Super Bowl coverage, but haven't heard a lot of talk about how Drake May's shoulder injury may have impacted his performance. I don't know how serious it was, but as a former athlete, I've played with injuries, and it really affects how you make decisions. Could this be a reason for Drake holding onto the ball as long as he did? His uncharacteristic errant throws or inability to avoid pressure? Yes, Seattle's defense is elite, but if Drake was hurt, so were the Patriots' chances. Either way, I'm excited for the future. Go Pats. Matt in North Carolina.
I think all of those things are, good possibilities. I don't necessarily think you hold the ball longer if you're hurt. I think you're looking to get rid of the ball. Maybe some of his accuracy was affected. I don't think so, because I think he was dealing with, whatever the situation was. I know he said it was just the AFC Championship game. I think it was more than that. But these are questions that only he really knows the answer to.
Right.
Like, I can't get inside Drake's head and say, well, geez, that's a play I would have made if I was fully healthy. Or maybe he didn't run as much. Like, decisions is the one part, in that email that I would say yes.
Yeah.
And I did think of a Seinfeld reference while Everton was on when he was talking about Deuce actually made the reservation so he knows how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to keep the reservation.
But the reservation keeps the car here.
There you go. I thought you were
I
going to
know
say
how
that
it works.
no soup for you.
I don't
when
think
it-
you do.
Do you know that show?
I've never watched Seinfeld.
What about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
That's sad for you.
I've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the younger generation,
Not that
you
much,
miss
but
the
a little bit.
Seinfeld
That's
wave,
sad.
but you get on with
not
Curb Your
sad.
Enthusiasm.
It is. It's sad. It's
I'm
sad.
a big Office guy. I like The Office.
Oh,
Okay.
Seinfeld.
I don't
is-
like Friends. I don't think Friends is a very
Friends
good
is
show.
different.
Yeah,
Friends is
it's not
different.
like
I
a-
like Friends, but Seinfeld's a different kind of sitcom.
I've seen Cheers. Does that
Cheers is
count?
good.
I've seen Cheers.
Cheers is really good.
I would say that's the extent of my sitcom.
I'm proud of you though for having seen Cheers. That's a
Thank you.
deep pull. That's
Yeah,
not
you
like
had
that's
to
in
go into the
syndication
archives
anymore.
for
that
You
one.
have to go on. You have to go and stream.
Early
that.
on, my dad put my brother and I a little bit on chairs, and the big thing was like, no! Oh,
yeah.
Walking in.
Your dad's the man.
You got a little of that.
Your dad, Chris's dad, sat behind Casey and I at the Super Bowl.
I forgot about that.
Chris's dad's the man.
That's true.
Great guy.
Guy loves football. Guy loves football.
Randy in the tundra that is Providence right now.
Randy. Randy gave up on
Randy
us.
going once.
You know what? I'm glad
Randy's
I didn't.
been holding on a really long time. I hope he calls back.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't because I was gonna praise you for saying like it is user error with Fred. Like we haven't had one person not ready to go when we go to the phone calls.
Yeah. All right.
An hour and a half in, we got our first one.
All right. Wesley in North Carolina. What's up, Wesley?
Now you go 0 for 2.
Oh man.
Wesley.
0 for 2 in the second half.
Wesley.
Yeah.
All right, Randy and Wesley.
Fred's
call
impact
back.
on the show is continuing.
Ever
to be
since
felt.
Fred texted you,
Oh, yeah.
that's when the calls stopped.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Once Fred started to be involved in the show.
It's fine.
But I have to admit, a little of Fred wore off. I mean, I had to ask Evan about the mood and, the atmosphere in Indy, and other nonsensical things.
I laughed when Evan said, not the whole media contingency was able to make it out here, but luckily we had enough people to get enough questions for Eliot. It could have been just Evan, and there would have been plenty of questions.
Plenty of things
Imagine
asked.
if no one could make it out, and it just turned into a one-on-one Eliot and
So,
Evan.
funny story. Do you remember? You might not, but there was a game the Patriots lost in Indianapolis where they went for it on 4th and 2 at the end of the game. They ended up getting stopped and gave Manning a short field. They were able to complete the comeback, and they lose. Okay, It's a night game. We go down the post game. Andy Hart and Paul Perillo. We're the only two people in the press room. Because everybody's on deadline, and everybody's kind of like rewriting their story because the Patriots had this big lead, and now the game completely changed, and they made this really controversial decision that Belichick made. So everybody's up in the press box writing.
Right.
They're like, if I miss the press conference, I missed the press conference. Paul and Andy, after a crushing loss, and we're looking at each other like, what are we going to do?
How did it play out?
Right.
I would have been terrified.
So it starts off,
Say anything.
I forget if it was Zoe or Steve Burton, one of the Patriots
Roshi
final
or someone
has the first question, and then it's Andy asked a question, Paul asked a question, Andy asked a question, Paul asked a question, and then people started coming in. We're
Okay.
like, oh, thank God.
Were you like racking your brain, coming up with questions
up.
out of thin air?
Yeah, and not just questions, but shall we say questions that are suitable to be asked by Patriots.com.
For sure.
Fair.
Not what the hell were you thinking going forward on 4th down?
Yeah.
Questions. You know what I mean? But yeah, those sometimes they happen, and you end up in one of those press conferences. This is why it's so important to have a plan.
Right.
Like when you go in the locker room, you shouldn't just wander in the locker room if you're writing.
For sure.
Every day, you go in there with an idea. Okay, I'm going to write about Craig Woodson today, and I'm going to talk about Craig Woodson at Cal, and I'm going to try to get him. And this is the story I'm going to go with. You don't just walk in there and just because you never know. Like all of a sudden,
For sure.
you put on the spot. What if Alex? What if you were in Mike Vrabel's press conference, and for whatever reason,
Karen's
not there, and Soapy's not there?
Alex, yeah, I know. I'd probably be maybe Nicole Yang, but
you need to be prepared. Well,
I've had that
you were
conversation.
the only woman in the
I've had that
press
conversation with Karen Guregian too. Just when a lot of the national news was covering kind of her and Teresa over in Tennessee, how they always get the first question. But I was talking to Karen about it, and she was like, honestly, it makes me nervous sometimes because I don't necessarily always have a question, but now there's the pressure on me to not only always have a question, but always have a good question.
And you can tell when Karen is one of those days
sometimes it's a filibuster day.
Can you give us an update on the
best was when Karen had jury duty, and I don't know if it was Andrew Callahan or I think it was Callahan that was getting the questions from
Karen.
jury duty.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know how she had her phone in the courtroom, but I have to ask her about that one time.
Or she stepped outside for a minute.
Got to get that question in.
Yeah.
No, she probably before she got to the court, she sent it to Andrew.
Good morning, Bill.
Hi, Megan.
That's Megan.
Question from Robert in California. Little change of topic here. What's the consensus on the upside of Ponder? He was seen as a raw physical specimen coming out, which led to him being undrafted. Getting 4 sacks as a USDA is impressive. Just how good do we think he can be after reviewing the tape of his rookie year? Is he just a reserve speed effort rusher, or does he have the potential to become a starter one day?
I like how UFDA auto-corrected to
USDA. Yeah, you're right. UFDA.
I would say, from my perspective, Ponder really, his coming out party was the playoffs. I think he stepped up in a big way in the playoffs. That was where he's getting the most of his pressures. He's getting to the quarterback more. He's way more valuable in the run game during the playoffs, in my opinion. Got more looks, but I think he could show himself and prove himself as a depth piece here for sure.
Yeah, I'll reserve judgment on that until I see something this year. I think a lot of times, rookies get in, they get an opportunity to play. Their sort of shortcomings are overlooked because you just want to see the raw ability. And I do think the way that the emailer described it is accurate. I think he came out with some raw ability, and now we'll see if that raw ability translates to an actual role. I think he was sort of a bit player, but now, and I know Eliot Wolf mentioned that Harold Landry will be back in camp, but they have a need at that spot. Those edge rushers are open, and we'll see if he can get a bigger role next year. But I was kind of. It's another one I wasn't as much on the hype train as others.
No, I mean, it's not even that. I think it's more just, again, as far as his development went throughout the season, playoffs is where I personally saw the most of his growth. But yeah.
See how it plays out. Let's get to these phone calls before these people hang up on us.
Yeah, you can't go 0-4.
Danny in Daytona.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We sure can.
Hey, what's up, Paul? Alex, it's nice to see you doing some hosting.
Thank you. Well, I'm split duties with Paul.
And also Mike and Evan's replacement. I'm sorry, I forget your name. But
sorry, it's Chris. It's Chris.
Chris, okay.
Common one.
Chris. I'll remember next time, Chris.
No, you're good.
I just wanted to
There
say,
won't be no next time.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Dang, Paul, that's crazy. But no, so earlier I heard you guys made some good comments earlier. I'm not surprised, and I am surprised to see Antonio Gibson gone. I think it's good. Paul, to what you were pointing out, I do think they should go after Breece Hall. I know you were saying earlier in the show they shouldn't. I think that a lot of people, CBS and all, Colin Hurd, all these national networks, and even some local networks in Boston were going. In the Massachusetts, they were even saying that they made Trayvon Henderson as an example. They said, look what happened when they brought in Trayvon Henderson. He could, in college, he was able to block. Came into the NFL, he didn't. Not that he didn't live up to it. He just didn't make the initial impact until the middle of the season. So they're like, I don't know if you want to go out and go get another, rookie like that. That may not right away and plug him in. It's better to bring a veteran in free agency. So I think that they should bring in Breece Hall. You have a dynamic back, Breece Hall, who can do it everything. He was on the Jets. Anybody that's on the Jets is terrible. Like, be honest,
No, I like Breece Hall a lot, but you want to get rid of Stevenson?
No, I want to.
Oh, well, then you're not going to get Breece Hall.
Look,
you're not going to have two main backs like that.
I think
Hall's better than Stevenson, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think that what they should do is maybe just entertain and see what else. There's a lot of good free agent running backs that are out here available. There's the ETN guys available. Some other guys that were with the Jags and the Dolphins. I would think about bringing them in. And the last thing I'll say before getting off the air, they need to rework Michael Wendy's contract. He's supposed to be hitting around $21 million. It's way too much money. He's
Why?
a good guard. They didn't say no. The reason I'm saying this is because you can't just think about the here and now. We have to start thinking about the future. We're only projected 42. This is like what I wanted to say to Evan's point. This isn't Major League Baseball. We don't have soft cap hits, so we need to restructure his.
You do have a soft cap.
He's a good guard. No, I'm saying in pro football, this isn't like Major League Baseball where you could pay somebody $300 million. It doesn't work like that.
Sure you can.
A single player. So I think they need to restructure his contract. And
I don't.
They need to get it down to $16 million. And then
do you think he's any good?
Get the money around. I think he's amazing. I think he's probably the.
So he's the last year of his contract. They might redo his contract in and do something like that to extend him and add years to his contract. I could see something like that, but he's not just going to say, "Oh, I'm going to take less this year."
I think he should be right around that 16, 17. I think $21 million for. I mean, there's a lot of good guards out there. I just don't think he's worth $21 million. I think he's good, but you saw he had the year before he did in 24. I mean, some of it that was kind of him moving in and out, but $21 million is a little too high. I mean, the only person I would probably give $21 million to right now is Tyler Linderbaum, who was arguably one of the best interior offensive line in pro football. He's been All-Pro every year, and he would be. I would back the Brinks truck up for him. I'd give him whatever he wanted. I would tell him, here, you want how much money do you want? That's who I would back the Brinks with, but not a Wenu. He's not a 21.
Well, you're not backing the Brinks truck up for a Wenu. He's already under contract. That's not the Brinks truck.
He needs to be restructured. They need to bring that salary down.
Okay.
It's too high.
I don't see that as being an issue, but I mean, I don't know why you would give a guy $17 million but not $21 million. Like, what's the difference?
Thanks, Danny.
Like, is he a good player for you? Like, does Milton Williams break the bank at $26 million? And and that's an average annual value. I don't know exactly year to year what Milton Williams. But would anybody be saying like, no, geez, you can't back the Brinks truck up for Milton Williams? No, he had a tremendous impact.
Yeah.
Michael Wenu had a terrific season for them this year, and the second half of the year in particular, he was he's what you're just describing, Tyler Linderbaum. He was one of the best interior offensive linemen in football.
Yeah, I think he's valued where he's supposed to be valued. I think Michael Wenu's sort of impact on that O-line, especially on that right side, he is the veteran presence. Like, that is their right side of their
now,
O-line.
you want to make a move and you want to get younger and cheaper, like Vrabel talked about, that's certainly a possibility. Maybe they want to do exactly what Danny just said and try to restructure his contract. What if Wenu doesn't want to? Does that mean you move away from him?
And then maybe create a rift in the relationship too.
I don't know. Maybe Ben Brown goes into that spot. I just think they changed 4 out of 5 offensive linemen last year.
You need continuity.
I think that
continuity.
Yeah, I think that they would be better off. That too.
Continuity.
Not my money, not my problem. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I don't mean any disrespect to Danny or anybody else, because Danny feels the way a lot of other fans feel, and I never understand it, why it matters to you. Like, not
your money, not your problem.
The cap is it's pretty much the definition of a soft cap.
Yeah.
Like, you can move, you can't pay one guy $300 million. Yes, you can, and teams do all the time, and it doesn't prevent them from doing anything that they want to do. Now, if you don't do it on the right players, does it hurt you? Yeah, because the player didn't play well,
right?
Not because of the contract. I just, again, I don't really. If 16 or 17 million is okay, but 21's not, like, is it really that big of a difference?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Wenu, to me, when he plays right guard, is a really good player. When he bounces around to the left side or he bounces out to tackle, he's kind of average.
Understandably. Yeah.
I think when he plays right guard, he's been pretty effective.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but pretty effective.
He's an interior lineman.
Let's clear these phone lines because we have some important business to attend to in the last few minutes of the show. We got to hurry.
Oh, okay.
USA Hockey.
Oh.
Eldred
that's true.
in North Carolina, not in the truck.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Paul. Hey, Chris. No, I'm not on the truck. I've been off for about a couple weeks.
Good for you.
Relaxing a little.
Enjoy.
Yes, how y'all doing?
Doing great. Not as good as you if you're off.
Yeah, I'm off. Getting a little bored. I can't wait to get back to work next week.
Can't teach that work ethic.
Yes, but I disagree with our GM. You really don't need a number one. We got enough 2, 3s, and 5s. He didn't learn that in the Super Bowl. He didn't learn that at all. Or maybe if we had Brady, like Brady did more with less for a while. But when he did have that number one, we did make it to the Super Bowl and undefeated, but we lost it. But but that's, to me, like, if everybody got number one, we should have one too, to stretch the field and open up to what's underneath. Paul, any reason why they won't give our guy a chance, John Giles?
I mean, I can only imagine that they don't think he's quite good enough. But no, I don't know. I don't know. And I do. And this is 2 years in a row. There have been flashes at training camp and even sometimes in preseason games where I see some ability. And there's obviously something there that allows them, this is two different coaching staffs that, kept him around. So, I don't know. Maybe he's a developmental guy, but I do like the size and skill set.
I think that's a big thing. And the reason they keep him around, especially practice squad, is he's the big body. So if any receiver on any team is going to have a big body, John Giles is going to be wearing that jersey number during practice.
But yeah, Big E, I would not be expecting him to all of a sudden emerge as a big part of the offense.
Front cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they move away from Diggs, which I think they might because of the legal thing, but I don't think it's causing nothing else. It is if he found guilty or whatever. But I still keep saying 32, 31, still get my guy. And they're still talking about him, even in the national leagues and everything. But knowing them, they probably get an edge. But as long as they don't get that darn tackle, I keep seeing everybody got us drafted too, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, Big E.
Thanks, Eldred.
Thanks, Eldred.
Let's go over to Ohio. Tim. Tim in Ohio.
Timmy.
What's up, Tim?
Yeah.
All right. Our friend Patty in Agawam.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Good. I knew Patty would be on the line.
So I'll make it quick, but I don't know. I apologize if you guys brought this player up earlier, but I'm really interested in signing Jalen Phillips, and I have not heard a lot of interest around the area about him, and I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on him.
Yeah.
He's young. He won't have to you don't have to give up any draft picks, just money for him, and I'll take it off air, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I like it, Patty. I brought it up a couple of weeks ago when I first started talking about Thibodeau a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Phillips was a guy, and there are some intriguing names in the edge free agency list, and he's one of them. He's a talented guy. The injuries have been an issue for him, but he was pretty healthy last year. I thought he gave Philadelphia a lift when he went over there in the trade deadline. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to making a move like that.
He's got the speed off the edge, that's for sure.
He's a good athletic edge guy. Yeah.
Very quick.
What do you think is the likelihood of them re-signing Chason, in addition to dipping into the draft, but bringing a guy like that back?
I could see him coming back. It all depends on these kinds of options. Do you look at what Chason's looking for as compared to what a guy like Max Crosby would cost? Now, obviously, there's a big difference in ability, but that's obviously a big difference in resources allowed. So I think that's it's hard to answer the question without knowing what their options are. And if some of these other things are legitimate options, like Jalen Phillips or Max Crosby or someone else, then you're weighing those against each other. Like, does this guy stack up to this guy comparative to what he's going to make? Because I do think Chason's going to make a decent contract.
He earned it for sure.
I think he definitely helped himself this year.
And he was
Definitely
good. He was good in the playoffs, which I think is very important. I think that's when the whole league is watching.
Right.
And GMs are watching, and they're like, he stepped up in the big moments, and he did. He played well in those games against the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos. Made some big plays.
It's about maintaining your motor. And I think you saw a lot of that at the beginning of the season with him kind of building his sack totals up very quickly. And then teams sort of figured him out a little bit, kind of quieted him down on the edge. But then he got to the playoffs, and he was playing at a much different level. Like, just dominant on the edge, getting to the corner, like we said. His game against the Texans was one of the better performances I watched out of him all season. Like, he's strong, he's fast.
People forget Texans had the ball in a 10-7 lead, second quarter, and they looked like they were playing the game the way they wanted to play it.
Yeah.
And Chason made a play that caused C.J. Stroud to lose his mind, and the game was never really in doubt after that.
And I think
he threw a punt up for my boy Marcus Jones. He returned it for a touchdown.
That changed the course of that game big time. And I think, I don't know. People forget sometimes. Maybe they don't forget, but Chason is a first-round pick.
Yeah.
He's a first-round pick for a reason.
Yeah. There was talent there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but then,
I think,
on the same hand, he comes here, they buy low on him.
Right.
He has this resurgence, and it went so well. The dynamic's so great in the locker room. show some loyalty to the team
Yeah,
that
no, I
really
agree.
bought in on you.
That'll
and,
be part of the.
But then again,
the
like
thought process. Yeah.
no matter what, I think his next contract is going to be life-changing money. It's just how much do you value the situation? Maybe
Right.
to give the team a little bit of a discount, not necessarily a huge break,
I
but
see if I'm him, I'm not looking.
Cash out.
I'm not looking to make any kind of a discount.
Cash
but
out.
But I do think you're right, and in everything you just said, Alex. He came in and he bought in. Now he had the same opportunity with the Raiders, like because he had a good year with the Raiders. He basically had the same year with the Raiders last year.
Sure did.
You know, and it's sometimes the fit is more important, and the fit here obviously worked.
Yeah.
The dynamic in the locker room obviously worked. He talked about it as much as anybody about
Yep.
how this team was different than any other he'd
Yeah.
been on. So maybe that allows him to come back. Maybe it is a little bit less. Who knows? But
I do think he performed better here with the Patriots than he did last year with
Yeah.
the Raiders.
yeah, it was similar. I mean, the playoff games kind of tilted because
Yeah.
obviously didn't have playoff games with the Raiders.
right, exactly. Winning changes things.
So before we go, I did want to bring up the Olympic hockey on Sunday, which was outstanding, and the U.S. exerting their dominance.
2 for 2.
Men's and women's gold medals, which
Yeah,
was
for two.
kind of awesome to see. Both overtime golden goals for Megan Keller and Jack Hughes. I'm assuming you guys were able to watch.
This is like the best Olympics ever to me.
It was waking up at 8 a.m. and just
I wish I went to a bar.
getting up and saying I'm going to watch some hockey right now. It's pretty awesome. Kind of loved it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed having something on that early in the morning too.
8
'cause,
a.m. and then you're done.
When you're 100 years old like me, I've been up for a couple hours
No,
already.
you're not done because after the win, if you're like me, you are now refreshing
well, yeah,
Twitter
you
the
watch
rest of the
the
day,
goal
just
over and
eating.
over
I
again.
can't remember like just eating up content after a win like
Absolutely.
that.
That is
Like
so funny.
I was on my couch. I went to dinner in Boston, drove all the way home, and then sat on my couch. Must have been like 8 p.m. watching like the NBC condensed game highlights and stuff, and just. Even to like this morning, waking up and seeing all the guys at 11 in Miami, and they have female entertainment standing up for the flag, like singing the national anthem in a nightclub
What,
that
they're
has
not
strippers.
American?
I'm American. I would have been up there with my hand on my heart, hat off. My UMass Lowell hockey hat on
Hellebuck.
today, repping my close personal friend, Connor Hellebuck.
There you go. There you go.
Little known fact, I went to UMass Lowell my first 3 semesters of college and made a lot of friends with some of the hockey guys. Hellebuck was a year ahead of me at Lowell, went to his house on 5th Ave a couple times for some fun parties. And it was always a good time. So it was really fun with my group chat of my girlfriends. Like, it's pretty cool. We can say we've been to his house, and he had this broom that was made out of a hockey stick that they jerry-rigged, and we actually stole it. And so we were like, yeah, it's pretty cool. We can say we stole his hockey stick broom and used to hang out there.
Do me a favor and tell your best friend Connor that was an amazing Olympics.
I wasn't really that close to Connor at all.
It was an incredible individual performance.
It
And,
was.
you know, truth be told, as much as I bristle at the whining and kvetching from the Canadians, they did dominate the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And Connor Hellebuck is the singular reason why the U.S. was able to win the game. But that's hockey. That happens. That happens all the time in hockey. What Canada got was the full Northeastern.
Mm-hmm.
In a game that they thoroughly outplayed the opponent, they found a way to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They have only themselves to blame.
Yeah. Mhm.
As the 3 best players in the world, arguably right now, were on the ice
Yeah.
in the overtime, and all 3 of them failed to do their job.
Yep.
They all made significant mistakes when the game was on the line, from shooting in a one-on-one situation into nothing, which is a cardinal sin in 3-on-3 hockey, to not competing to get back in Cale Makar's case,
effort.
and not being able to win a puck battle,
Sorry,
which
UMass.
was a 50.
My other school.
It was kind of a 60-40 battle. It should have been in favor of the Canadians for the puck. And Zach Werenski was able to win that battle and get it over to Hughes. Unbelievable theater. I do not mind the 3-on-3 as much as a lot of other people do. Evidently, it's the bane of a lot of people's existence.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
What
Not for 20 minutes.
bothered me the most.
Not for 20 minutes.
And I know a lot of people, like a lot of people that were rooting for the U.S. don't like it either. So this is not just sour grapes, but I could not handle the sour grapes from Team Canada and John Cooper, their loathsome
so whiny.
coach.
Oh my God.
So it was okay that you won 3-on-3 in the quarterfinals to get there.
Mhm.
But if that game kept going 5-on-5. I think, you guys had all kinds of opportunities. And you know what? Connor Hellebuck didn't have anything to do with Nathan McKinnon missing a wide open net.
Wide open.
In the middle of the third period.
Yeah.
So
the entire left side couldn't have been more free.
The whining needs to stop. Team
tip your cap.
Team Canada's a great team. They were the better team on Sunday, and they got beat by a goalie, and that happens in hockey all the time. And when I tell you, I watched Northeastern lose Beanpot games like this so many times over the years.
A little different.
I know what happens. I know how
Same
that's
magnitude.
why Canada, you got the full Northeastern. I get it. Stop whining. No one cares, and live with it.
Yeah.
The U.S. beat you.
Stop acting like they don't have dozens of gold medals in hockey. Like, yes to that. That shot, the photo of that Hellebuck save is one of the best pieces of sports photography I've ever seen in my life. Same with the Jack Hughes picture with the American flag. Yeah. You want
to get into all of that stuff. So now they go out on the ice. They get the Gaudreau children.
That is the most beautiful moment. The most
Teary-eyed.
beautiful moment I have ever witnessed in sports is them skating to go get the Gaudreau little kiddos.
That was awesome.
Like, if you didn't cry, you are a soulless sociopath. So serious.
I guess I'm a sociopath. I didn't cry.
Well,
but it was an awesome moment, and I am a sucker for those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily like the flag drapes, but like the when the kids are out there, and just the level of excitement that they had to win for their country.
Yeah.
Jack Hughes' walk-off interview was legendary. Complete with the teeth out. Again, I'm a sucker.
The teeth and the blood. If you
coming.
typed into Microsoft Copilot, generate me an image of a hockey player that just won a gold medal for the USA.
And
That's
he's
what it
talking
would
about
be.
His patriotism, and I'm not
thanking the troops for them being able to play in that game.
I'm not politicizing it all, because I know everybody
It shouldn't be.
Everybody has different, two diametrically opposite sides.
Yeah.
And that's not what this is all about. What he's talking about is playing for his country, and I think that everybody should be able to embrace that, even though there's too many Olympians that somehow couldn't embrace that part of it. I'll leave that again for another day. But
McAvoy too.
The whole
Underrated.
thing was awesome. Now,
I have
if
so
only
much
McAvoy
pride.
showed up and played in the game, I would have been a little bit happier. But I think he may have been on the take in the game.
That one
He turned the
save.
puck over so many times, I wanted to destroy the TV.
It was like the Carlton Davis experience where he gives up that DPI, but then he saves it afterwards.
He did save a goal.
I had a lot of pride. I know there
I
was
don't
a
want
lot
to see a replay on that, because I think it might have been in, but whatever.
It's okay. We won't talk about that. The
They
game's
aren't
done.
gonna replay it.
Can't take it
It's
back.
over.
Can't take it back.
USA won gold, Paul.
Yeah. I have a
It was
ton of pride.
awesome.
A lot of
There we
guys
go.
obviously were from Michigan and stuff, but so many Massachusetts, New England ties
Matt
on that
Boldy.
Olympic team. Yeah, like
Shout
did you
out
see
Milford.
down the street in
I think it's Millis.
No, he was born in Milford.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my hometown.
and his mom is a bartender at
Mansfield. Yeah.
and the bar was electric
Rocking.
watching. Obviously, I'm sure she was in
Rocking.
Italy, but just so cool. I have so much pride seeing all the New England ties.
It was
on that
awesome.
team.
In the women's game, we talked about it a little bit last week. The women's game was
Good,
just
too.
as good. It
Well,
was
we were watching that during the show
just
on
as
Thursday.
riveting. That was a lot of fun too. And again, Jack Hughes. What was the first thing that you thought of? Honestly, Megan Keller.
Yeah.
Just handled it so well. The aftermath. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it happened at a perfect time, perfect storm.
Yeah.
With the wind up of the Olympics, the NBA basically coming off the All-Star break, so they weren't playing at all. The
Right.
NHL
Right.
players are obviously there, so
Yeah.
that's not gone. There's really nothing else going. It's that dead time between the Super Bowl and then the start of the new league year for the NFL. It was, center stage, spotlight all on this hockey. And when does it ever work out that it lives up to it when that happens?
Yeah.
For the men and women to sweep gold, never happened before.
But
just
U.S.
so
Canada
cool.
too,
Of
the
course,
two best
yeah.
teams
Literally.
in both tournaments. Again, Canada was so close to losing.
Mhm.
The U.S. had to win in overtime. Canada had to win in overtime. Canada had to come from 2 goals down in their semifinal game against Finland. So it was so close to not happening. Perfect result having those two teams play and two
And OT
epic.
too, I don't think there's any better marketing you can do for a sport than when a big hockey game goes into overtime.
But you know what else was perfect timing? errands with this snowstorm.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, if
Maddie
you didn't
with
have
his
your
thumbs
errands
up in the booth.
at the for the aftermath of this storm, you were in trouble, my friend. So make sure that doesn't happen to you, Chris. And when you need to dig out of your car,
You don't have
next
to make your
time,
girlfriend do
the
it.
next big
Whoa,
snowstorm
team
could be
effort.
just around the corner. Make sure you are ready so you can clear the snow. Aaron's is proud to be the official snowblower of the New England Patriots. Visit www.aarons.com to find your errands.
Nice.
And
All
that,
right.
my
What a
friends,
sign off. Go Pats, go USA.
is how they do it.
Fired up.
Yeah, so we'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll be.
Well, Paul and I will. I heard Chris isn't coming in.
No Chris on
see.
Thursday?
Yeah,
We'll
probably,
see.
probably home Thursday.
All right, no big deal.
What are
We
you
should
doing?
have Fab Five Freddy and the bunch back.
There you go.
And Alex, great job doing the emails and the phone calls today.
Thank you.
Chris,
Great job
Catch
to
22
you.
is going to be 3 to 5 tomorrow.
tremendous insight by you. And I'm being told that Catch 22 on Wednesday with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth will be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So that'll be 3 to 5. You want to catch all your boring draft kind of takes and whatnot. You know, that's a show for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, Alex and Evan obviously do a great job with Catch 22. So make sure you check that out. Otherwise, we'll see you on Thursday.
Hey, this is Matisse. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure to follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else here that we do at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.